Hello and welcome back to the Royal Ravens Rundown with me, VIKKSTAR123. Thank you all for your support on the first episode of this series. We've got another good one coming up, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you are enjoying these. Once again, we will be joined by Shane. We're going to be going through everything that has happened so far in the Call of Duty League this season, and then we will be joined by a key player in the league itself, Nadeshot. We're going to be talking about the old, the new, and everything he's achieved so far, so make sure you stay tuned. So we are beginning with the hype, keeping you updated on everything happening within the Call of Duty League. Once again, I am joined by Shane. How are you doing today?
Feeling wonderful, man. Excited to get the week ahead, you know?
Yeah, definitely, because the week ahead is big because the weather, the storms came in, and we lost all of our matches this weekend just gone. But, you know, is this necessarily a bad thing? How's it feeling?
I mean, I think, you know, it's going to, obviously, with the crazy stuff going on with the weather in America, I mean, we've led to now having a full week of high intense matches. In my opinion, that's going to be incredible for a spectator. You know, I think you're going to see some crazy results this week because of, obviously with less breaks, momentum's going to start taking into effect, and you might see some crazy results. And you maybe some teams, because they can play almost every day, they might show some sheer dominance this week and pick up a lot of points to get off to a good start for the first major.
Yeah, and with Parasite joining the squad, this is something new, and I guess this is in a way a silver lining because it gives the team more time to gel a little bit before flying into new matches.
You're 100% right. They're obviously using a new pickup. The more time we can get together, the better, you know. Obviously, like with us playing like a couple of teams based in Texas too, I mean, we wouldn't have said no to a couple of free 10 points, you know. But at the same time, we're trying to prove everyone wrong, put on a good show for the fans, and you know, some tough games this week, but we're prepared.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's about, putting on a good show. And just to kind of jump in, I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh no, it's just the weather. Why are you cancelling the game?" And I'm sat here like, well, if the internet and the power goes to one of the teams, you don't get any game. It was obviously the right call. And let's talk about how things are going so far. So that was the first match. It was looking scary for the first two. There was almost an incredible comeback. How are you feeling watching that, and what are your initial thoughts?
Honestly, it started off with a lot of disappointment. The way we were going in from practice going into that game, honestly, we are the better team and we should have done better there. But I guess as it being the first game of the season, the issues of why we lost the first couple of maps was genuinely like an overexcitement in communication. The communication was a little bit too chaotic, and that just like stems between like the anxiousness to get into the game, and that we spoke about after the two maps. Everyone could see we were a different team, map 3 and 4, and we just had to work on our search and destroy a little bit to keep our communication not too insane as like it was. Then we're going to be far more prepared this week.
Yeah, it's almost ironic how last week I was saying, oh, you know, we've only got 4 players this time, so comms are going to be so much cleaner. But, you know, 4 people can just talk more, and it's about finding that right level. But what you said about momentum, hopefully that comes true, and as there are more and more successive games coming up, hopefully the team becomes even more comfortable and they start flying through them. So who have we got to look out for in our next set of matches? You know, which are going to be the close ones, do you think?
Honestly, in the CDL this year, there's no easy games, you know. Like, for example, Seattle were like, us and Seattle were like the two, say, lower seeded teams in the group, and look how close that was, you know. If a team like Seattle was regarded as a lower team with some of the players they have on their roster, then it's a high skill gap year for the CDL, you know. But like having like New York, Dallas, Minnesota, and the LA Thieves as well, you know, that's 4 extremely hard games, and we're probably going to need to win a couple of 2 or 3 of them to get like into the winners bracket for the major. So it's a tough ask, but we're ready for it, and like you said, the momentum can help carry us through it.
Speaking of the LA Thieves, a little bit later on, I'm going to be joined by Nadeshot, and they're flying through this season right now, and they've got an interesting roster. What do you think of their team?
I can only give that roster like a lot of credit, you know, and any team with Slasher on it is going to be a very good team, you know. They've got all the raw talent in the world. They're a good team to play against, you know, but we match up with them very well. We're definitely confident for the match, and obviously we saw them last week. They look extremely strong. Of course, they're going to want to put on a good show for Nadeshot, you know, because him jumping back in the scene is a big deal for everyone, and obviously it's good for everyone. That.
Yeah, no, hoping for definitely a very close match there. And in terms of what is coming up, that's all we can really talk about. We were hoping there would have been more matches by now to talk about performances thus far, but that first set of matches, definitely there was a lot of nerves going into it. Perhaps shows which teams can really kind of keep everything cool and collected, which teams are already well practiced. But yeah, it'll be kind of when we come back for the segment in the next episode, that's when we're really going to be able to break down what has happened so far. So once again, thanks for joining me for this segment, Shane, and I'll see you shortly towards the end for our best plays of the week once again. And now it is the part of the show you've all been waiting for. I am joined by one of the most OG players and people in the gaming esports scene. It is Nadeshot. How are you doing, my friend? Welcome aboard.
Brother, I'm doing great. It's like when I have the Tomahawk Call of Duty Black Ops 1 OG call me an OG, that just makes me feel fantastic. So I appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to this.
No, I mean, that's literally puts us perfectly into the first topic I wanted to talk about. We've both been in this game a very long time. We both have Call of Duty backgrounds. You definitely started on the competitive side of things. I started on the content side of things. And now worlds have collided. Everyone's doing everything. We're both involved in the esports side of it. We're both involved in creating content. People, they want to hear your side of it. So how has that been for you, kind of starting as a pro and now having to do everything? How are you finding that?
Man, it's been fantastic. About 4 years ago when we started 100 Thieves, and now a couple years later, bringing LA Thieves into the mix and being back in Call of Duty has just been phenomenal. It's like I'd never really had the foresight that I'd own my own team one day and would be running a company at this scale.
Just to jump in, like you say, like I never thought I'd be doing this. I remember distinctly, it was about 5.5 years ago. You let me crash at your place in LA after, I think it was like a Titanfall event, or it was some capture event. And I remember we sat and we talked and you explained the whole thing. You're like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I have this big plan. I'm creating my organization. We're going to do this, this, and this. And that's one thing that I think stands out to me so much, because as you and I both know, in this space, a lot of people have big plans and they tell you they're big plans. And a lot of the time, nothing ever happens. People are like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I have these plans. This is going to be massive. That's going to happen. And then a year later, you're like, so what happened to all that? But you are someone who's actually done that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, I just feel very fortunate because I have so many smart people around me. I definitely have one who's susceptible with having big ideas and coming up with plans and then not taking any action. So I definitely don't think I'm an outlier in that sense. 100 Thieves for me at the beginning was supposed to be just an apparel brand. I thought that a lot of YouTube creators were really just pawning off merch, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, if you have fans of what would have been my individual brand, Nadeshot, I created Nadeshot merchandise back in the day when I was still a part of Optic, and that was fine for what it was, but there was never anything that I saw in the YouTube community that really made me think, oh, I'm gonna go into my closet, I'm gonna wear this brand, and I'm proud enough of it to go to school or to go out on the weekends wearing this. And so it just seemed like such a niche that had not been fulfilled yet. So 100 Thieves started as an apparel brand, and then through the introductions of many people in my life to this day came 100 Thieves as an esports brand, entertainment brand, apparel, everything that you see today. So I think it's for me, I've always just attributed it to timing. I've hit the right wave at the right time and everything's sort of fallen into place. So I'm very fortunate for that.
I mean, you know what they say? They say you create your own luck. So a lot of people say, oh, you need to get lucky to do well. But if you meet enough people, if you associate yourselves with what you see as the right people, eventually you're going to bump into the people that are going to let you put together huge, huge things. I mean, we've got our examples of that over time in kind of the YouTube side of things, where we've become the Sidemen, which is this huge content group, just from, I guess, you could say it's luck that we bumped into each other, but we all kind of picked out things about each other that we realized would be strong together. But obviously you've done that on the other side of the fence. I guess a real question is, do you miss competing? Because now you've got your teams competing on your behalf and they're winning, they're doing great. Congratulations, by the way. But do you miss it in a way, or can you live through them?
You know what? I do miss competing from time to time. I mean, when you see players in big moments on stage and make a big play and the rush that you get from that, and just knowing that you're the best team in the world right now, that's definitely something that, you can never really scratch that itch again. But I will say I have a lot of respect for professional players this day, just because social media, you could be riddled with pain and fear and anxiety just from other people's comments. And I think that was the toughest part for me, because back when I was competing, I was definitely never the best player on each team. And you receive a lot of backlash when things aren't going well. And that was just the toughest part for me. I don't think I'm very self-conscious anymore, but back then when you have hundreds of thousands of people telling you how bad you are at the game, it's like you don't really even understand the scale of how we're playing and where we're playing and who we're playing against. And people make mistakes. So I definitely miss it at times, but from other aspects of it, you know, players are getting paid a lot better now. So maybe that would be easier for me to stomach. Because back then I mean, I wasn't paid at all.
It was tough. And even when we were getting paid well, companies above were using our naivety to be like, oh, we'll just pay you a little bit and we'll keep the rest. And we had no idea because everything was so new.
Exactly. It's like the practice schedule too. It's, you know, for somebody like VIKKSTAR, you know, you yourself, you spend 8 hours creating content for an entire day and you have videos for the next 2 weeks. But when you're practicing every single day and scrimming, it's 8 hours, and you could spend months practicing for like the world championship and then get 8th place, 7th, 8th place like we did in Advanced Warfare. And that's when I retired. So it's just, you know, it's really managing your time and understanding what's going to yield the most benefits in the future. So, you know, competing, it's a chapter in my book that I've closed, but I definitely miss it from time to time. But I'm glad that I'm in the position that I am in now.
Yeah, without a doubt. I definitely, in the early days of Warzone, I actually got the chance to compete in a way I never had before. And I feel like I missed out. I'm not sure if kind of you know this, but in the very early days, we're talking like 2011, 2010, 2011, I was doing two things. I was playing game battles with my friends, and I was also like posting little clips to YouTube. And I remember distinctly I had this decision point where I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to try and become better at game battles and get into things where I can win money? Or am I going to keep making the content? And I chose the content. I guess in hindsight, I can say, hey, that was the right thing to do. But one thing that I really enjoyed, the thing I really enjoyed is when Warzone came around, because I had an audience on YouTube for Warzone, I could play in all of these tournaments and host my own tournaments. And even you got involved in my showdown. I remember you beating Symphony one of the weeks, which was great.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to talk about me. I don't think enough people talk about how good you were when tournaments first started getting rolled out in Warzone. I mean, you were winning consistently. And I was shocked. I'm like, I knew VIKKSTAR was good at Call of Duty, and especially now that he's playing keyboard on mouse. And you were just rolling, man. It was really cool to see. Not gonna lie.
No, it was definitely surprising to me, and you know, I attribute a lot of that to my main duo, Wars, Casey. I knew from the offset that he'd been a Blackout player, and he was one of the best competing Blackout players, and that same knowledge came from Blackout over onto Warzone. So that definitely helped a lot. Yeah, in the early days, I was really on top of it. I was putting in, you know, that time. I was trying to improve every day, and I really enjoyed that. But it got to a point with me where it was just exhausting, because after I'd put, you know, 25 days into the game, other people are going to 30, 35, 40 days played on Warzone, which blows my mind, and, you know, complete respect and kudos to them. I was trying to balance my other responsibilities, and I was like, I can't keep giving my life to trying to be the cutting edge of this.
I feel like you and I are living in the same world in that sense. It's like, I still live with Symphony, and the amount of time that I see him put into this game, I mean, he streams like 8 to 10 hours of Warzone every single day. And I'm like, well, I got to go do 5 video shoots this week. I've got 2 full days of phone calls. I've got to fly here. I got to come back. I just couldn't keep up anymore. And a lot of people have been asking me, why are you not playing Warzone as much? It's just, I feel like I fell so far behind. And it's intimidating, you know? So that's why I haven't been in any tournaments. And that's why it feels great to have professional players competing for us, because those are the guys that can really spend the time and are as good as they need to be to win tournaments. And, you know, I get to reap the benefits from it, and so to speak. So
I definitely feel like that's one side of streaming that people often don't acknowledge and appreciate, because they might watch a really top level streamer for a few hours a day, and, you know, they'll always be live. They'll hop on, they're watching for an hour, they'll jump off. But what they don't realize is these guys are doing this all day, every day. And a lot of people look at it and they're like, oh, you can make all this money streaming, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get really good. But it takes so many hours of, you dedicate your life to it. You can't just start up streaming as a hobby and really, you know, blow up. I feel like in this day and age, you have to be the best, and you have to put in so much time. And because of that, I have so much respect for everyone that does do it. And I can definitely go through phases where I can really get into that mindset. But for me, I have to escape. And part of me almost worries for people that can't escape from that. You see a lot of streamers mention how difficult it is to stay on that level of consistency, that level of skill for those amounts of time. But I guess that's what everything's so in demand right now, whether it's the pro players, whether it's the, you know, the franchise spaces in the esports teams. the player spaces, everything is hyper competitive.
Yeah, you know, I know I brought Symphony up again, but it's just, I see so many parallels in our lives, because what he's doing now is what I was doing 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. And I really appreciate what he does. And there's some aspects of my life now where I look at him and it's like, he don't even know what day today is. Like, it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's all the same. All he does is get up, play Call of Duty, and then goes to bed and does it over again. And sometimes I miss that life, and other points I don't. It's like just having more freedom with the life that I've built around me and the company that we're running. Although I do work in a different way some days than Symphony might, I definitely have more freedoms where if he's not on at 4 a.m., you know, people are going to be wondering what the hell happened to him. And for me, I can, you know, just, I don't know if I can swear in here, but I can piss off for as long as I want to, and people don't really ask me any questions otherwise. So it's just a different lifestyle. But yeah, it's hard to stay consistent, I think, as you get older as well. I don't know, man. It's either, in my mind, it's like you got to be all in or you can't at all. So it's tougher now, because, you know, when you look at streaming back then, you had to have like a full-time job still, or you were going to school. You couldn't really just go all in because there wasn't enough money in it. And now if you hit the right wave and you have the right audience and the right timing, you know, it's a dream that you can make true. It's just more difficult now.
But yeah, that is the scary part. And I think that's where people like me and yourself are really grateful that we have been involved in the scene for so long, that we've seen the evolution and we haven't had to jump in. I get so many people ask me like, okay, I want to become a streamer. What should I do? And I say, look, I started making content 10 years ago. I wouldn't know where to start in this. You know, if you become the best at anything, people are going to want to see that. And that's, I guess, what makes everything so competitive.
Yeah, I think that's what expedites the process a lot. Like, in more cases than not, winning solves everything. And if you're the best at what people really want to watch other people do, it's great. But I completely agree with you, man. I wouldn't even know where to start. It's small fish in a really, really big ocean. Like, it ain't even a pond or a lake. I mean, I couldn't even fathom trying to be discovered to this day. And that's why, you know, in a lot of interviews that I do, or people ask me for advice, like, for me, it's just timing. You know, I feel really lucky, like you said, 10 years ago when we started, because it'd be next to impossible nowadays.
For sure. So, okay, next I want to talk about the Call of Duty League. So you missed out on last year, and I guess you had to sit and watch the entire league happening without being kind of involved in it. Now you are, and it's going great. We're like 6-1. You can't complain about that. But how was it last year? How did it feel not being involved in the league, and how's that changed now?
Yeah, to be honest with you, man, it was just a terrible feeling. I mean, the year before last year, we were one of the best teams in the league. It was the first year that we actually got back into Call of Duty underneath 100 Thieves. And we won 2 major championships. We were the runners-up in the World Championship in a tough series versus E United. And then to all of a sudden, essentially have to release our entire team and exit Call of Duty, it was just disheartening. Like, it just didn't feel right. But the situation our business was in and where Call of Duty was heading, it just didn't make sense for us financially. And I think what changed for us so much was Call of Duty's commitment to expanding the actual reach of the game itself. So it wasn't just new title every single year and a couple tournaments. It was now Warzone, Call of Duty Mobile. You know, Call of Duty really had taken back its seat in the throne of like one of the biggest entertainment IPs in the entire world, and not just in gaming. So I think that for me was kind of a big trend heading in the right direction, where we needed it to be a part of this again. And obviously we missed our players and we missed our community. It just, like, at our ethos, you know, like, Call of Duty was my career for so long. It just doesn't make sense for 100 Thieves and now LA Thieves to really be apart from it. So the opportunity, when it came up, it was like the perfect wave. You know, I know I've said that a couple times, but timing is everything in a lot of different scenarios. And being able to bring back Slasher and Kenny and, you know, 2 of our old players that we had before, it was the perfect storm. So I'm so happy to be back. I can't wait for the year to unfold. You know, obviously our premiere, we lost to Optic pretty convincingly, but I think the players, it was like a wake call that we need to do more. We need to be better. Our first 2 matches, you know, we went like 3-0, 3-1 map count. We've got more games this week, so I'm excited. I
think, like you said, over the league, I think there's gonna be a lot of different storylines this time around. I think we're gonna see a lot of shifts in power, and who knows who's gonna be on top at the end. But that's the excitement, right? That's why we're all so invested in it, because we don't know where it's going to go this time around. So now, Matt, I have a little something for you. I end all of these interviews with a segment called The Royal Moment. And we have picked out one for you. We're both going to watch it together and we're going to talk about it. This is good. This is good. Don't give that look. This is your Royal Moment. All right, let's roll it. Let's roll it.
Aggressive push here from Nadeshot right away. There's smoke down.
Dude,
he dodges some stuns, and he might be able to get the first pick. However, there's also
I
a
already
player that's
know.
going to be Neslo watching the flank.
Nice
you did.
pickup. There is somebody right behind him. He gets by an enemy line.
There's Nade.
Oh my goodness!
Going for the ace now. Last man standing is going to be
man,
Kushar.
I miss
Highlighted
Call
on
of
your
Duty
minimap.
Ghosts
Doing
S&D,
about to
bro.
get cleaned up from behind.
Yeah, Nadeshot's a peacock. You gotta let him fly sometimes,
Dude,
man. He
this
gets
win
close
was
kills.
back
Go for the
there.
ace. He got the ace. Oh, and he gets the ace. Nadeshot
Yeah, all right. Man,
There we go.
X Games Call of Duty Ghosts, man. Up into that event, if I remember correctly, like our practice and scrims were not going well. I mean, you know, obviously me and Clay were always, you know, very, you know, thick-skulled. We always would butt heads quite a bit, but we had the talent. Like Proofy was incredible then. Scump's always been incredible. Clayster was, you know, great leader, played really well, but practice just wasn't going great for us. And so going to this event, Complexity just swapped over to Evil Geniuses. As the first time that organization had like been in Call of Duty, I think, ever. And they were supposed to win that gold medal. And in my mind, it's like, that's why EG picked them up, to try to get a gold medal for the press and all that. And somehow, some way, we came and won that event. But that play specifically, that, bro, that I was never like a great panic knifer, you know, back then. If it was a one knife, one kill, and I played kind of like in a non-standard way with the way I gripped the controller. So I would never get knife kills, and somehow that 4-piece ace just came at the right moment in the grand finals.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that speaks a lot to, you can scrim all you want, but it's how you handle the real environment, and that is really what makes players and plays what they are. And that was Team Caliber, who were doing really well then. So to face them in the finals and go on to win, I think it went down to like, it was 2-2 final game.
We should have won that game sooner, but Neslo came up with a big 2v1 versus me and Scump, and it's like, when you have hindsight, I mean, I can remember the play to this day. It was like Sovereign search and destroy. I'm sitting down the stairs. Scump is prone down the catwalk. And if one of us just ran away and stayed away from the fight, it's over, you know, and we would have won with a lot less stress. But yeah, I think, dude, I've been going back and looking at some old matches and just like looking at score lines, and I don't think I give myself enough credit for some of my performances in Search and Destroy. Like, if you go back and look at even Advanced Warfare and Call of Duty Ghosts and like the really important games, like the Game 2s and the Game 5s that really change the trajectory of how your team's going to place at the events.
Like, that Search and Destroy is all decision making.
I would turn it up in Search and Destroy. People need to go back and look at the scoreboard, the score lines. It's S&D. Like, when it really mattered, I was playing well. Damn it. So yeah, man.
Like, turn me up, play it back.
Seriously, bro. I mean, there were definitely games where I didn't, you know, things didn't go my way. But when you talk about Advanced Warfare, here's what I need people to understand. When you have Scump, Formal, and Crimsix on your team, especially in like the hard points, you know, I think back then we played Uplink instead of CTF in Advanced Warfare. You can't have all 4 people that are like plus 10, plus 20 in terms of KD. There's just not enough kills on the map. So even when I was not like putting up the best stat lines, I definitely felt like I was still doing my part, because when you have 3 guys that are that dominant on the map, you got to fill in. You got to go where they're not.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to, you know, watch the outlet, make sure people aren't coming on flank. And that's the problem, is that people didn't really see that aspect of the game. They wanted everybody on the team to be, you know, double positive in terms of KD. It can't happen.
Yeah, I had the same thing in Warzone. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm mechanically the best player and, you know, I would, you know, outgun anyone. I knew I wouldn't. But what people often like don't look at in Warzone is the score line. They're not looking at, you know, when people are buying players back, when players are calling in UAVs. These are things that are huge for the team when players are calling their team not to push something that they think is too risky. That's kind of a huge part of the game. And, you know, playing with Wars was great because mechanically he could outplay nearly every player on the map. But the best thing is he would usually kind of follow my calls. And if he didn't follow my call, I would, be like, okay, this is different. He knows something different here. And, usually we come out on top in those early days. So
yeah, I mean, dude, I think you're exactly right. Like every Batman needs his Robin. Now, I'm not saying that I would, if you had 4 me, that we would have won an event. Like we probably wouldn't even win an event. Like I just didn't have the slaying power. I wasn't the playmaker. But when you have really talented superstars, like you need somebody that could play complementary to them. That's where I felt like I really played my role really well. And so I'm proud of that.
Yep.
I mean, if you look back at the history books in Call of Duty history, we won 3 major events back to back to back. I couldn't tell you the last time that happened or how many times it happened in all of Call of Duty history. Now, obviously, when they got Karma, they probably got even better. But still, man, we did our thing, and it sucks that we fell short at the World Championships. But there's some good moments, man. I look back on it fondly.
No, yeah, we've created a whole lot to look back at and smile. We went from supporting players on the map to supporting them in the real world. So yeah,
Let's
no
go, Vic.
complaints from these sides. It has been a pleasure having you join me. Go through a little of the nostalgia for our older Call of Duty fans, and maybe a bit of an education for anyone who's newer to the scene and tuning in to the league this year. We're gonna have some great matches coming up again. I can't wait for the rivalry between London and LA. It's gonna be a great time. Thanks for joining me again, Matt.
Appreciate you, Vic. Love you, brother. Thanks.
And now it is your time to shine. In a moment, me and Shane will be going through all of the clips you guys submitted to the London Royal Ravens Twitter. Give it a follow. It's linked down below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, and you might see yourself on here in future episodes. We're going to get right into these plays and see who our winner is for this week. So this is it. We got a little Cold War action right now. Last player alive, they've got 7 lives. So this is Control. Let's see what he's got.
You're the sole survivor. Honor your
7
comrades'
for Paul,
sacrifice.
easy, lightweight.
You can hear his teammates in the back. There's
Said it's
one.
light work, I don't know.
So you gotta have the confidence. Oh my! That guy hates his life after that one. Did he just so you get that smoke to get out?
Great chaos in the smoke.
Proceed.
Yeah, he used it. Mate, those guys have got to feel awful, and his teammates are loving it. He's celebrating. Oh, they nearly
He's in a
get him.
pickle as well.
Yeah. Alright, well, and it ends there. I'm assuming he died, so he didn't quite make the 1v7, but even putting in that much of a shift, you got to rate it.
100%. It was a tall order. It was a tall order, being a 1v7. I think his teammates set him up for it. It said 1v7 light work, and I guess he had a point to prove at that point. Like the gun skill, the movement was amazing. I love how he threw the smoke on the floor. As you can see, it created chaos. The other team were just blowing about crazy.
Flying
I think he
into
turned
it.
on him during that too. So got to give him credit. It's a shame he probably didn't win the round because that would have been absolutely insane.
Yeah, I definitely bet after doing that, he was like, why did I not do this 3 minutes earlier when my teammates actually had lives and I could respawn? But that's the way it goes. Like, you've got to show up when the pressure's on. All right, so we've got Real Cooler right here. He's got the Peloton. The Peloton's looking nice. Let's see what he can do with it here on Nuketown.
It's a nice camo that. I might have to take that one.
Yeah, no, that is. You can tell he's ready. Oh, is it?
yeah.
He knows how to get into our hearts. He saw last week. Tom Hawkins to the quick scope. He's on 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, he's snapping them.
Oh no.
Oh no! Oh! What? What? To my saviour, Vic, have you seen this? Can we play a game of Warzone, please? You know what?
I mean-
I'll shoot you a DM. You may not win, but we'll get a game of Warzone in, my friend. That is too funny. He's throwing that in at the end there.
I mean, you
That's
were right.
unreal.
You were right. You said it yourself. Like the Tomahawk clip, just in the first 5 seconds, he knows how to win your heart over. And I mean, the clip was awesome. He created chaos as much as possible, running into the mix of anyone with a sniper, and he did well. And I have to give him an extra point for the little effort he went for the message at the end to ask to play Warzone with you.
That was great. That is the definition of pub stomping. When you're no-scoping people in their spawn in Nuketown. Alright, this final clip, we've got Nuke Lucas. We've got a little search and destroy. Raid. Classic Black Ops map returning to Cold War. Let's see what he's got. The nostalgia this map brings from the early days.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
The
so
glory
it's
days.
3v4. He's made it 3v3. He's got the Tundra. Clean work.
Oh wow.
And that's it. That's it. Just making it look easy.
I mean, I got
Does
to
he
give
get
the
all
guy
of them?
props there. I think, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it was all 4.
Let's play. That's quality. That's what you love to see. He shot that guy in the foot, and I'm surprised he got the kill. But I'm glad he
I
did.
know. No, I think that was me. I'd have to aim like neck height above for a 3-1 like that. But like, I've got to give him the props there. It's I think he was 5-4 down going into that round, and he decided to make, you know, the classic old school rush straight through kitchen, straight into Zig, like no hesitation. And I think caught every single one of them off guard, and a good couple snipes as well. And then the last guy got absolutely destroyed, to be honest. But you know, he's just saved his team then, gave him a chance to win the game.
We're gonna have to pick our favorite clip. I feel like we can do this without discussing again. What do you think?
100%.
Are we thinking the same thing? We're thinking the same thing. The
100%.
Tomahawks have come
100%, you
through
know.
again. Real cooler. You've won yourself some Royal Ravens merch. We will get a game of Warzone in at some point, and yeah, you know, you can't beat those pub stomping clips. You can't do them in any other mode.
Definitely.
But the combo is just clean. It was a lot.
The first clip had a good chance of like being incredible, you know, but then he did it. It was a lot to ask for him to finish that off. But if he finished off the round, or clutched up in the control, then you know, I think we would have been the winner. But the second clip was so flashy that 100% you're right, he deserves to win it.
That is going to be all for this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to get your clips submitted for the next episode. If you guys are interested in checking out all the new London Royal Ravens merch, which is looking wonderful, hit the link in the description below. You can see a bit of it in the outro. Thank you all for tuning in once again. We'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.